So good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, depending on where you're joining us from. Welcome to the fifth edition of the Blue Planet Virtual Workshop. My name is Neon Murray, and I'm moderator today. We are so excited to be back after a short pause in June. We had so many conferences, I cannot count. During that time, we just had a lot going on, so I really couldn't partake in a June workshop. But now we return energized and ready to hear from two remarkable fellows representing St. Kitts and Nevis and Rapa Nui. Today's focus is on real-time updates on the ground, these insights into each country's journey towards 100% renewable energy, including both the progress and the challenges they're having. Now, just a quick note, if you have a question or for either speaker, please feel free to drop those questions in the chat or wait until the Q&A session and then we could use the raise hand function. Right, so let's begin with our first speaker, Mr. Clement, the General Manager of Skelec, joining us from St. Kitts and Nevis. Clement brings a wealth of experience from the energy sector and will walk us through where the island stands today in its renewable energy efforts. Clement, over to you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Well, good afternoon from St. Kitts. It's good to be here having fellowship with you again. So this afternoon, I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough of where we are in relation to St. Kitts, Nevis, and our energy transition schedule. Next slide, please. So my outline is just going to go over briefly the country's overview, the key development, some energy transition opportunities, and some of the challenges. Next slide. So St. Kitts and Nevis are located in the Central Caribbean. We're about east of Puerto Rico. We have a population of around 47,000 people, and we became independent from Great Britain in 1983. The currency used on the island is the Eastern Caribbean dollar, and it's pegged against the US dollar at a rate of $1 is equivalent to $2.70 EC. Our economic activities are mainly based around tourism, small industry, and the financial sectors. Next slide. Now, the energy sector in St. Kitts and Nevis in particular is mainly fossil fuel based. You could see it's about 97% of the sector, with 1% in wind and 2% in solar. Now, the solar component of this is increasing very steadily over time. And because our island is so small, it just takes about one utility scale solar farm to have that number increase to as much as 30 to 35% of the energy production. Here in St. Kitts, the peak demand is 30 megawatts, 30 megawatts. We have about 43 megawatts installed at the power plant, and again, it's mainly diesel-fired generators. On the island of Nevis, the peak load is around 12 megawatts, 2. They do have some wind turbines installed in Nevis, but most of the solar is through distributed generation, rooftop PV. And for the most part, between the islands of St. Kitts and Nevis, that is heavily unregulated. Next slide. Now, that segues into this slide where you could see at the 1st of August, one of the mandates by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis is to implement a small-scale distributed renewable energy generator policy. And that's really for solar PV or wind PV, on a small scale at individual residences around the island. We are also going to launch the EV policy on August 1st, and by October 1st, we will have the rooftop solar PV net billing program come online. Now, this has been in the making for some time, as anyone who had systems installed on their house basically was performing community service. You were, giving whatever extra you had back into the grid without compensation. So as of the 1st of August, we will start the rollout for this new policy, and it will be implemented by October 1st. Um, we also are in the process of having an RFP drafted for utility scale solar project. And this we're hoping to have on stream well before 2030. And on the Nevis end, we had the unsealing of the bids for the geothermal production wells, and that should commence in the second quarter of 2026 to um, get the test wells into production state, and then eventually we're going to go into the procurement phase for a 30 megawatt geothermal plant. And we have ongoing impact studies um, for the entire system. Next slide. Now, in our energy transition, we are hoping to have the reduction in the use of fossil fuels, as is expected. When we met in Hawaii with Blue Planet, one of the main tasks achieved was signing on to the alliance to have 100% renewable energy by 2035. And that is very possible for us here in St. Kitts and Nevis, because the RFP out for the development of a utility scale solar PV plant that could easily take us to, 30%. And then with Nevis doing something similar, that will take us to 50%. And with geothermal coming on stream by 2030, we could be well over 100%. Next slide. Of course, challenges always involve money. Financing is one of the major hurdles for us here in St. Kitts, as we are considered to be a high income state. So grant funding is something that's very rare for us to receive. We always get offers for loans at concessionary rates, but the point is, even though being a small island works to our advantage at times, it's also our Achilles heel as well, because the revenue that we generate as a small island of 50,000 people with ambitious goals to have geothermal, solar PV, wind farms, etc., these projects can easily be in the hundreds of millions of dollars range. And there really isn't much of the opportunity right now to develop that type of money just through revenue collection. There have to be, donations, loans, whether it be through the CDB, World Bank, etc., to help these projects come off. Next slide. Now, one of the major things that's driving this is the Sustainable Island State Agenda, or the CISA, for St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is based off of 7 pillars. And these pillars are energy transition, water security, food security, sustainable industry, circular economy, human capital development, and social and economic resilience. Now, you can see the targets there, 50% by 2030, 100% by 2035. Now, the goal is not just to stop at 100. We want to go to 110, 120. because then that will tick off a few of the pillars. Because what you can end up doing is having um, sustainable industry and circular economy through the production of green hydrogen, methanol, etc. So that could be a revenue stream, a new revenue stream for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So with the development of the geothermal wind and solar PV, we are definitely well on the path to achieve our goal of 100% renewable energy, powering our country by 2030, which is 5 years ahead of the Blue Planet 2035 that we signed on to. So I'll pause for now and pick it up further on in the discussion. So back to you, Nia.
Thank you very much, Clement. I mean, we have some valuable insights from St. Kitts and Nevis. I mean, since you left the fellowship last year, October, to now, I realize you're all just moving forward quick, right? So I know all the plans was there, but also I have to remind you, don't forget to reach out to the blue team if you need us.
Yes, yes, definitely,
Okay.
definitely. We had a discussion recently, as you would recall. It's just for me to follow up on it.
All
So
right.
thank you again, Neon and Francois.
Worries. All right, next we journey to the Pacific to hear from Thomas Standen, he's the legal advisor at Council of the Demographic Carrying Capacity, who will share with us what's happening on the ground in Rapa Nui. This includes the cultural and community dimensions of their renewable energy transition. Thomas, please take it away.
Thank you for this opportunity to share with you the, the current situation of the energy transition of Rapa Nui. I think it's very important to have this kind of discussion, also to share the ideas and to share the information about and also how we have been evolving and making some progress. Next slide, please. Uh, First, I would like to share uh, where we are now. We are in a tough situation, I think, but we have some hope to improve. The current situation is that we depend on the 99% of the fossil fuel production of energy. We only have 1% of solar production, and we don't have any heat resources. So we are making some works, some efforts in order to improve the situation to get more renewable energy production. We are doing in different ways. As you can see in the presentation, we have the 2024, the generation almost 17 megawatts, the production, and we have almost 13% of the sales to the client. Also, we have the almost 4,500 cubic meters of the consumption of diesel per year. Next slide, please. But not everything is bad. We have good news. This year, it took place a donation from the French Treasury Minister. It was given to the Aldea Educativa Honga Otemana, who is a school for young people from 13 to 18 years old. It was implemented by Ecoson company. the invest was 900,000 euros. It provides 75 kilowatts power. It have 176 retractable panels and almost 400 students benefit. It provides 100 solar autonomy. Yeah, we are very happy. I don't know if you remember Tokerau, my mate who was in the cohort the last year. He was one of the main professional responsible to make this project. So I would like to say hi to Tokerau. He couldn't be here, but I think it's necessary to knowledge that. Next slide, please. Also, we have an historical agreement. I don't know if you remember, but the last year when we were in Hawaii, we told you that we have conversation and we have some agreement with the international development, Inter-American Development Bank. I can tell you that the loan contract was signed yesterday. So we have a $50 million loan with the Chilean República with the state guarantee. It aims to promote environmental sustainability by improving water and electricity service. The main object of this loan is to build and to design the construction, monitoring, and maintenance of a photovoltaic plant, Best Mataveri Rapa Nui. Next slide, please. This project was it was a long-term project because it required the alliance between the local authorities in order to get the space where to build this solar plant. The local authorities had a lot of work with the state in order to disaffect this land. This land had a destination to the Air Force, and the Air Force gave to the concession, the land, to the utilitarian enterprise, SASIPA. It started like 8 years ago. It was not easy, the route to get this land. So we are very happy to have the land and to have the agreement. Now the design the design of this plant will provide with 2.9 megawatts with 2 megawatts of BESS. BESS. It will provide an average of 21% of the total energy. It will take a $11.25 million invest, and we hope it to start the construction in the first trimester of 2026. And also, we have the commitment to find the financing for a second solar plant by 2028. Next slide, please. So what have we learned so far? I would like to share with you that it's very important to the Rapa Nui community to have a public-private collaboration. Yeah, the lesson we have learned is that we don't have to wait the help from outside or all the help from the government. Also, we have to share the necessity of the community and also find different sources of financing. One example is this donation of the French state, but also there are other kind of examples. I work in this demographic carrying council that was created by the special law that allows to install or to promote some restriction to the mobility of the national people all over the country. This was a constitutional modification. It took place, and it gives the tool to measure the impact of the overpopulation on the island. This law it allows us to make a study in order to have the numbers and the statistics of how the overpopulation impacts over this territory. We have the 10,000 resident population, but we have more than 130,000 annual visitors. So this law allows us to restrict the contract of laboral people from outside. So this council allows to make some exception for that restriction and give some recommendation to the people who want to contract people from outside, and it put some requirements like principal install solar roof panels. So I can highlight that the public and private collaboration is a tool that we have used very, very long. Also, the strengthening of the local capacities. I think the power of the local professional is very important. Is a thing that I highlight of this process. Also, the trust actions. People have to see the improvement on their land to trust in the public policies. And also the local participation in public policy. Sometimes the local people are tired to always be asked what they want. I don't see the results, but a lesson we have learned is that we have to be part of the decisions, no matter the time it took. Next slide, please. What a challenge we have? I put in this presentation some technical challenge that we have diagnosticated. The improvement of the electrical transmission systems. We have several problems on the lines, the medium lines, and we want to high the level of the transmission line. We have the commitment to migrate from fossil fuels to renewable energy. Also, we must ensure the access to energy, not only the people who have in the urban part of the land of the island. So, order to get access to the people who live outside. There are not many, but they are getting more and more. The challenge I have diagnosticated is that we need to achieve more ambitious goals. Currently, we don't have these ambitions to get the 100% renewable in a date. I think it's an important challenge to have these ambitions goals, and also to increase energy efficiency. We have diagnosticated that education in the population is the best tool to get that efficiency. Next slide, please. And thank you for your patience. And the English is not my first language, but thank you very much for your attention.
All right, thank you very much, Thomas. Your English has gotten better.
Thank
So
you.
very proud of you. Right, I know the current situation is not ideal there in Rapa Nui. So despite the challenges, I mean, you got the loan. That's a big loan. I don't know how you're paying it back, but don't worry. You know, you could always reach out to us. Same goes for you guys. Blue Team is there at your disposal. Um, and of course, I know during the fellowship you would have had help from other islands. So don't forget, all of us, we are an alliance for a reason. All of us willing to help, right? Um, Now I see we have some questions in the chat room, but I want to ask one question before we go into chat room questions, right? So just to start off, I want to make sure that you guys get a feel for what has happened in the fellowship. So if Thomas and Clement could give me um, a quick inkling as to what happened in fellowship, how it's helping the energy transition process now on the ground, and if at all, any takeaways from the fellowship is helping you guys transition to 100% renewable right now.
All right. One of the first things I can say was that fellowship for me exposed me to what the rest of the world was doing, not just a specific region, like the Caribbean region where I live, I work, I fellowship with the different utilities in my region. It exposed me to what the world was doing. And a key thing also was that our Minister of Energy, the Honorable Congress Maynard, was the head of the delegation, and it was myself as the head of the utility on St. Kitts and Albert Garden as the head of the utility on Nevis, as well as Miss Elliot Carice representing the youth. So it was a clear example of leading from the front because as the Minister of Energy, he was the one who put together our presentation and he was the one who pretty much was the most vocal amongst us because not only is he the Minister of Energy, he's an electrical engineer by profession. So he understands what the challenge is, he understands what needs to be done. And just that general interaction with the different fellows was my key takeaway from it, it inspired me, it pushed me, it propelled me, and then signing the agreement for 100% by 2035, that gave us a milestone that, we can work towards. And as I pointed out earlier, we're not only working towards it, we're planning to exceed it. So we're pushing for 100% renewable energy by 2030. And the contacts that we made while we were in Hawaii were most invaluable as well. When coming back to St. Kitts, we had a few follow-up meetings with some of the presenters at the fellowship, and trying to work towards how we could work together to achieve whether it be financing, whether it be capacity building, whether it be collaboration, whatever it took, or whatever it would take for each one of us to succeed. I think the fellowship did a very good job at aligning all of us together so that we could achieve this.
Awesome. Thanks so much for those words. Thomas, your turn.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Clement, for your answer. I would like to tell that I miss Francois alone. About the question, I'm not an engineer, so from a lawyer and especially from an advisor, it's very important to have different tools in order to advise council that are taking decision in order to get the full development of an island. For me, the participation on the BPA has been very, very important because it helped me to improve my ability to in order to advise the council the different options we have as an island. And also we can compare the different situation because we are located in the middle of the Pacific. We also compare with the Pacific Island. And in this cohort, we have the opportunity to share with the Caribbean, that is very far from the Pacific. We have the similar challenges. We can learn how the different island have faces this challenge. I think it have given me different ideas, different tools, different opportunities to go further, to walk in the renewable path. Also, I like to highlight that the work is not only once. It doesn't end with one meeting or two meetings. It's a progress. I'd like to thank that because it allow us to be always preparing, always reading, always investigating, talking with different authorities. And I think that is very important because the needs change all the time. And we have this background and I feel very supported by you. I'd like to thank that.
Of course. You're welcome. Don't forget us. we're literally a text and a call away. All right. So let me just go to the chat. Ooh, Ambika asks plenty questions. Let's see. Let's see if we can get through. All right. So the first one is how are you preparing? I think it all goes towards you, Clement, if I'm not mistaken. The first one is how are you preparing the grid infrastructure to support high penetration of renewables? The second is what incentives or policies exist in St. Kitts and Nevis to encourage the private sector investment in renewable energy? I think we could do those two questions and then the other two kind of long. So
Okay. So the first question about what we're doing, grid modernization is actually a key component of the entire process. For us here in St. Kitts, our grid is mostly one big distribution network, with the highest voltage being 11 kV. If we're going to be talking the type of penetration from utility scale solar farm, geothermal, the interconnection of St. Kitts and Nevis, so that you could share the power across, because the geothermal um, site is actually on the island of Nevis, and the main demand between the two islands is actually on St. Kitts. So, in order for that to work, you have to first interconnect the two islands, and for that transmission of energy, we have to modernize the grid and increase the transmission voltage move to a transition voltage from a distribution network. So the plan is to upgrade both islands, the central grid to 69 kV with a 69 kV undersea cable connecting the islands with maybe one or two legs for redundancy purposes. So grid modernization really is a key factor. In terms of private sector investment, there and policies to encourage private sector investment. Uh, in the 1st of August, we are launching a new policy for EVs and rooftop solar PV penetration to a net billing scheme. Now, the Energy Act for St. Kitts and Nevis is what pretty much governs the entire utility sector. And through creative mechanisms, we want to leverage the public to invest in the different technologies. So once we roll out the rooftop solar PV scheme, we're expecting to see a slew of um, designers, installers, inspectors come on the scene. That would then open it up to a lot of the local financing companies and financing agencies to provide loans to persons who want to put systems on their home because the incentive there is now there for them to get buyback and they can see a return on their investment. Um, on a larger scale, if we're talking the utility scale power purchase agreement, similar to what we are developing an RFP for right now. We have envisioned a few creative ways, which I really can't go into
Yeah.
too much detail right now, but there are some creative mechanisms built in to allow for public and private sector investment into those projects so that the investment somewhat stays local as opposed to a foreign company coming in, putting up all the money and all the reserves going out of the country. So that's one of the things that we pay attention to ensure that some of the money from the project and even some of the equity in the project remains on the ground and is not just foreign based.
Okay. Francois, your hands up. You want to do the
Oh,
question?
no, thank you for sharing that, Clement. That's really awesome. I know you have a lot of challenges on the interconnection and bringing on the new renewables online too. So I appreciate that. I know there's more questions for you particularly, but I actually want to also ask Tomas one question. Maybe Barbara's online too, so maybe she could help answer. I think during the fellowship you mentioned that in order for you to bring renewables online, it has to be under 3 megawatts. And I noticed that your presentation had a 2.99 megawatts threshold to keep it under the radar from the. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that so that our audience knows on why it's intended that way? And um, I think you want to go more, but because of that, it only allows you to penetrate incrementally, I believe. But if you could maybe elaborate on that a little bit.
Thank you, Francois, for your answer. It's a very cool answer. The reason why the 2.99 megawatts solar plant was designed is because if you construct or design any further energy capacity solar plant, you have to go through over a very long and very difficult law review or environment impact system that I think we want to avoid because the archaeological study before the design of the solar plant was made, there was a small area that is being protected, but all the process for the environmental analysis and studio in Chile is very complex. And we have a lot of renewable energy projects that are not being made because of the long-term studio. So the utility company decided to design under 3 mega project with the commitment to make it bigger 2028. And also, if you could notice in the presentation, we have another land next to this land that is 9 hectares. surface. So the next step, I think, will be there, but we have also to make all the change of the owner of the land, of the concession over the land, and I think it would take some time to get it. I don't know if Barbara would like to add some, but I think that is the main reason.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tomas. All right, back to Ambika's questions. I mean, you did say that you want to keep, Clement, you did say that you want to keep some of the investment on the ground, but I think the question really poses if there's potential for cross-island collaboration with private companies. I don't know if you wanna touch on that. And then the second one is, are there any upcoming renewable energy projects? I mean, you did mention the geothermal project, but you could probably elaborate. And what types of partnerships Select most interested in terms of technology providers, project developers, financiers, and system integrators?
Okay, that's a very good question right there. There definitely is the opportunity for cross-island collaboration. Um, Simply because the geothermal resource in Nevis is a very good one, actually one of the best in the region. And because the load center for St. Kitts and Nevis, or should I say the combined load for St. Kitts and Nevis is relatively small in comparison to the availability of the resource. There is the opportunity to interconnect to a number of the other islands. I see Neil Smith from the BVI is on the chat, so I can run a cable over to him. We could run a cable over to St. Martin, Antigua, a few of the closer islands in proximity so that we can actually provide them um, with power. And we work out an arrangement in terms of a tariff so that we can make money and they can also save money from the fuel avoided costs for running the diesel generators. There's also an opportunity here on the island of St. Kitts because we're heavily a tourist industry and we have a lot of cruise ships coming in. There's the opportunity for shore to ship power, where when the cruise ships dock, they can connect to the island grid and we run their systems off of the excess energy we have from the renewable energy sources, whether it be geothermal, solar PV, wind, etc. So there is an opportunity for lots of collaboration, both locally, internationally, regionally. The type of partnerships we're looking for all types of partnerships. When it comes to developing our country, our federation, sky really is the limit. It could be to like the Blue Planet Alliance. That collaboration alone was able to put us in touch with a number of different agencies, whether it be financing, whether it be skills development, whether it be policy development. These are the type of arrangement that we as the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis are looking to get into to not only develop our country, but also to help you develop yours as well, your country, your organization. So really sky is the limit for us. And we are looking to foster collaboration at every level.
Nice. I mean, you and I have been to many conferences this year in the Caribbean region. I don't know if you could remind me, is it CDB? They really
Yes.
kind of push this interconnected Caribbean
Yes,
map
CDB
there with
CDB is one of the major persons, major agencies pushing it. And in fact, CDB was one of the agencies that helped finance the development of the, or should I say, the project for the development of the production wells in Nevis. One of the things they did was provide a contingency recovery loan where it starts out as a grant, and
Yeah.
if the resource is not successful, it turns into a loan. But once it is successful, it's a grant. We also have a lot of what we call intergovernment collaboration. We see that again through the government to think it's a Nevis farming ties with agencies such as the Saudi Fund for Development. And the Saudi Fund for Development has actually put in funding for two projects. One is the redevelopment of the Needmouth Power Station here in St. Kitts, where the plan is to install two 18-megawatt dual fuel generators to replace some of the older aging generators that we have. So persons were saying, "Well, if you're going green, why are you installing generators?" The point is you must have a backup, you must have a backbone. And having those generators run off of LNG, which is what we consider a bridging fuel to renewables, it's more energy, environmentally um, safe when compared to, say, the um, the fuel type that we use right now. So you can see, we have a lot of projects going on and a lot on the table.
Yeah. I know you mentioned LNG. You don't want Francois to go crazy here.
Yeah, I know, I
He
know.
doesn't like that.
I know he doesn't. I know he doesn't like it. We've had that conversation before, but
Yeah,
it is an option that is being considered.
right. And that's just to compensate for the challenges we have in the region, right?
Correct.
All right. So, I mean, thank you so much, both Thomas and Clement. I just want to bring Francois, our Executive Director of Blue Planet Alliance, to share a few final thoughts and updates ahead of our fellowship in October and any broader initiatives that we're taking on. Francois, take it away.
Thank you for joining today. Thanks, Clement. Thanks, Tomas, for presenting. I know we're all in different time zones. I myself is in Japan right today. It's a little bit before 8 in the morning, so I got up early. Uh, but again, it's really great to see our fifth edition successfully happen today, and it's great to see a lot of our friends online, everywhere from Antigua and Barbuda to St. Kitts, all the way to Rapa Nui and Trinidad and even Canada. So it's really nice to see everybody come together, and we would like to continue the series going forward. And to Neon's point, I just want to remind you that our blue team, our experts that you have, for those who have met in Hawaii, they are available for your to advise you in any way, and we cover the cost for that. So if you have any policy or financing or technology even questions, please always feel free to reach out. But I also want to remind you that we do have partners in the room like Mana Pacific and other folks who are specializing in already doing projects and financing out in the world today. Um, Also, please remind yourselves that we now have 37 countries that have come through our program, which means you will always have 36 other countries to look for examples and talk to each other. So if you need introduction, please let us know in which country you'd like to learn from. More recently, I think Belize and what was it? Belize and Bahamas wanted to get to know each other, learn from the grid from each other. So we made an introduction to that. Miss Gwen Yamamoto, who is our finance expert. It looks like she'll be flying to Saipan in October to do a little workshop out there for us. And this is invited by the government for her to come and talk to a larger crowd. So things are developing as we speak, and we hope to continue the movement. Again, our goal is to make sure that every island and country in the world has a 100% goal. So I'd like to work with you guys closely going forward. And thank you for sharing your ideas with the youth present today as well. You're really an inspiration to all of them too. And thank you guys, youth, for jumping on and listening to this. So with that, thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu. Mahalo. And we will hope to see you guys soon in the near future.
All
Yeah.
right. Nice. Well,
So,
so just a quick note, we will be at Climate Week in New York this year. If any of you are going to be there, please email. We could see how we could do collaborations. And then fellowship in October. Wish us luck. Right. So huge thank you again to Clement and Thomas for your presentations,
Oh,
to all of you.
Nian, sorry, just I forgot to mention about the cohort. So
right.
just for your information, we are currently in discussion, deep discussion with Anguilla, French Polynesia, Marshall Islands, Panama, Costa Rica, DR, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Saint Martin, Aruba, Ireland, and Mauritius. So these are 11 candidates right now that we're talking to. So as you can see, we're moving up a little bit into the countries as well too now, and seeing if we could bring them on board as well too. So if any of you have any contacts out there, you want us to connect with them, or you're simply interested in what they're doing, please contact us and let us know, and we would like to connect you again. So with that, if we're successful, Ruth, we will go all the way up to 47 countries, which will get closer and closer to a big goal. Again, sorry to mention that earlier.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Francois. Right. So, I mean, I look forward to continuing this journey together with you guys at the next edition of the BPA Virtual Workshop. We'll have one in August. But until then, stay inspired, stay connected, and let's keep building a 100% renewable future together. Thanks very much, everyone.
And we will
Bye.
share the recording and a slide presentation with everybody online. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
thank you,
Thank you
everyone. All
guys.
right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. See you.
All right. Bye.